Guys, welcome to Shieldcast. It's a new year. I believe we are a little bit late into the new year, but yeah, here welcome to the new season, and this is season 2 of Shieldcast by Coding and Kahawa. I am still your host George Ndongo, and I am with Kevin. No one has left the team. Even the technical team is still with us. So welcome to the new season, and for this pilot episode, we'll like to brief you about the changes that are coming in the Shieldcast podcast, and with a little bit of pilot episode with the breaches of last year and all the events that happened in the cybersecurity realm. So, yeah, just like a normal episode, we'll pack you with information of the cybersecurity realm, the attacks that happened last year, but we'll try to keep it short and leave time for the announcements or the changes that are incoming in the Shieldcast podcast. So, my name is George Ndongo. I'm still the same host. I am a software engineer, still the same host, and currently a C squared member. And I'd like to maybe give Kevin a chance. Let the fans hear your voice, and yeah, before we kick in.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for joining in. We've walked through the journey for a very long time now, and it's been a pleasure always sharing insights with you, especially at this time when tech is rapidly growing, changes day and night, the innovations and the rest. But still, at the core, cybersecurity will still even be on the greatest need, like one of the most important tools to ensure that everything is kept in a very safe way and people are able to trust and be confident into whatever systems they are using, that no breaches or any kinds of attacks will be able to happen to them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. So I was talking with my friend. Actually it's yesterday. So he was asking me what are the activities that cybersecurity analysts and researchers do. Like what do they do when they wake up and then they go to work in the morning? Because he's a software engineer like me, and at least for the workflow of the software engineer, it's kind of detailed, so you kind of know what they do. But anyway, for that and more, tune in for the Shieldcast episodes that are coming for this year. And but with that, I'd like us to start. So as I had said, today we are going to look at the breaches that happened in 2023, especially Q4, but we look at the whole year. And yeah, as I said, we'll try to keep it short. So let me start because we have a lot of information to tell you, and we have to catch up. So let's start maybe with the British Postal Service and courier company, the Royal Mail. I believe it hit headlines last year. And behind this, who else will you expect to be behind this? But the Russian ransomware gang, the Black Matter. Yeah, so I'd like maybe Kevin shed some light, and yeah, as we proceed.
Yeah, that is fine. So, in general, when it comes to these attacks, which will be mainly touching on the breaches that happened in the previous year, there are various aspects to view the breaches, and there are facts that can be extracted out of it. So, first of all, we need to ask ourselves what was the incident or which kind of attack that happened. Number two, what were the results of that attack? Was it maybe some ransom that was requested? Was maybe systems going down, maybe loss of reputation, fines against the law or the rest. And then the third thing, which is the threat actors who carried out this attack or who claimed the responsibility for such an attack. So in this perspective, the attack that happened was that happened was on the Royal Mail ransomware, as you have already been told. And then, secondly, this incident happened in the early dates of January. That's around the 10th of January, thereabout. So, this is a company that has been in existence for over 500 years and assists in the sending of parcels, especially in Britain and around the world. So, the incident that happened to them was a ransomware that had a message, and I will quote. Lockbit ransomware. Your data is stolen and encrypted. You can contact us and decrypt one file for free. The ransom was noted on devices that were used for international shipping. So it means that it was more of a person who knew how they operate and how they run. So it's more of an APT. So because they are targeting just one module, so there might have been a very good reason behind it. So the general impact, as you had already said, is the fact that they lost about 10 million euros in the recovery process. And if you have been keen with us, following us through the previous podcasts and episodes, we have always been emphasizing that the cost of recovery is always higher than the cost of maybe setting up. So maybe if you would consider investing a lot in improving your cybersecurity infrastructure, two, having frequent trainings, three, continuous assessments against maybe 0 days and upcoming attacks, you'll find that even when maybe a breach happens, well, number one, the cost of it may not have an adverse or a great impact to you, and then secondly, even maybe it might not happen. So that's what you can learn about them. And then the threat actor, as you have been told by George, was a Russian ransomware gang called the Black Matter ransomware. Okay, so and as usual, one main characteristic of these organizations is the fact that they prefer to work with cryptocurrency as a method of payment of these ransoms. So each one of us, maybe because we've heard of crypto. So there's an attachment to it with blockchain, so that you might see a transaction, but you do not know who is receiving it. So it's somehow an anonymous transaction, but still at the same time, it's very much trusted, and this is the reason why the attackers usually prefer it. So on the side note, I don't think that they were paid that ransom that they were requesting, because even if you are left with one knee broken, you don't just let the other one break off. By this I mean, if you would maybe decide to pay that ransom, it's better to endure the pain of losing the data rather than paying that ransom, because of two main reasons. Number one is the fact that you will be encouraging these ransomware gangs or attack gangs to continue with that process again and again and again. You need to now become like a career, if we may say, but it's something unethical. And then number two, even if you decide to pay those millions of euros or dollars as ransomware, it will not be a guarantee that you will be able to receive the data that you had that was breached or that was stolen or sought, And then number three, it's against, let's say, against the government bodies. For example, if you maybe report to the FBI, the FBI totally does not advocate for that. That has always been their culture. So
Yeah.
what they did is that they had consultants so that they can be able to cool down the incident, and then also they tried to report it to the UK office of the Information Commissioner. That's the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, and the UK National Cyber Security Center. And then from there, a public release was also made to acknowledge that there was a cyber security incident that happened to that organization.
Yeah, okay. For me, I think the challenge with paying the large amounts of ransom in Bitcoin, you can just pull up at a Bitcoin or a crypto farm and then ask for ten million dollars in crypto. So that is a challenge, and I think in the States there are upcoming companies which are legitimately negotiate with for example, the Lockbit and those people using the ransomware as a service, and then they are the middlemen between the companies paying the ransom and the the attackers. So I think, as you mentioned, Lockbit will shift into that direction, but as we usually ask if whether a company should or should not pay ransom, maybe. do that in your Twitter and tag us. We will surely respond. But as Kevin said, I think it should be discouraged, except that there are some infrastructures that are critical and I think it should be discussed. There shouldn't be a definite answer that ransomware shouldn't be paid, but for majority of the times, I think it shouldn't be paid. But when maybe critical infrastructure like hospitals and maybe the energy sector is involved, I think we can weigh. We can always weigh. I don't want to declare that there is a definite answer. Yeah, because you can weigh and then you weigh the repercussions and you find that a lot of people will be adversely affected. Yeah, the story cannot no longer be the same. So for the
Yeah.
Lockbit, the ransomware as a service has been on the rise, and the reason being it's because it's easy to execute. Like the Lockbit developer RAS, and then they give it to people at a fee. So the other groups, which are maybe smaller than Lockbit, will be able to execute it at a company and give Lockbit a commission. So others include the dark side and the Lockbit leading the list. The R Evo I think hit headlines also last year, and some other names. You will mention them in such a conversation. So the Black Matter ransomware gang came to be known in July 2021, and maybe we can talk a little bit about the Black Matter ransomware gang, and the team later came to split due to pressure from low governing bodies. So I don't want us to dwell much on this because we mentioned it in the previous attack, but it is not confirmed whether it was rebrand strategy or coming up afresh. And yeah, so let us just say that on the Black Matter ransomware gang, and maybe let us go to another attack. I don't want to dwell on that one because I feel that we have talked about it a lot, and let me talk about a third one, which happened in Auckland, a city of Auckland attack. So in a
Yeah,
similar
Judge.
situation, yeah,
And I think there's some statement here you've mentioned.
yeah,
RAS.
yeah,
RAS. You talked about RAS. It is it's a very strong word, but you just not really have gone through it in a very shallow way. But someone might just cross someone. So for example, let's say you rent a house, so after each month you somehow pay rent so that you can be able to live there for the next month, the next month, the next month continuously. So in a similar way, or maybe you pay your school fees for each term so that your son or daughter can go to school. The same
hmm
happens for attacks. So you pay something for this organization to carry out an attack for you, or to provide you the infrastructure for you to do an attack on a certain company so that you can be able to get some money. So that's what we call RAS, which is full is ransomware as a service. For those who have done cloud computing, there is software as a service, platform as a service, and then the other one is
infrastructure as a service.
infrastructure as a
Yeah.
service. So there's also ransomware as a service. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Kevin, for the clarification. I believe I'd not hit it as you would like it to be heard. But anyway, let us proceed to the city of Auckland. I believe I was in a rush. So yeah, the
Uh,
city of Auckland. So in a similar situation with the attack at Royal Mail, the one we mentioned as the first one. So the city of Auckland in California resorted to use traditional modes of communication. So this is where an organization opts to use other methods instead of paying the ransom. And I think the conversation about whether a company should pay, I think it is very large. And as much as people are focusing on AI, I think cybersecurity will be a large conversation maybe in future, especially when maybe attacks start happening on critical infrastructures we had mentioned. So you can imagine going back to pens and papers and radios. That is what the city of Auckland resulted to, with 16 GB worth of data breached. but full restoration I think was done 3 months later. Yeah, 3 months later. So although the group by the name Play requested a ransomware, the government organization did not pay. So you can see, especially government organizations, because even the first one, the Royal Mail ransomware, it's a government organization. It's supposed to serve it. They resorted to not pay. So you can see, especially government organizations are discouraging ransomware attacks by not paying the ransom. But as I had said, we can always wait, and yeah, we can always weigh the repercussions. And so to say, this brings us back to that question whether the companies should pay ransom. And I believe I'd love to call for action for our fans to interact with us in our Twitter page. Yeah, but anyway, maybe shed some light on the City of Auckland ransomware attack as we proceed.
Yeah,
I believe
so it's
I
interesting.
believe yeah.
It's interesting that you're transitioning to pen and paper. I hope it was not like but it was not a permanent solution. But later on, it was recorded that their systems were back. But one
Yeah.
thing that I did not like about the City of Auckland ransomware or the attack, the breach itself, was the fact that the government was that sub. It's like a count. Like we have county governments in Kenya, the way that you can decide that we have been attacked, but you're not telling it to the public. You're like trying to say, hey, we have not yet been attacked, but everything was very clear that something was totally wrong. So that's why even if you decide to go back to pen and paper, it's
Yeah.
okay, but at the back, behind the scenes, even if restoration was done like 3 months after it all happened, uh, you should also try to improve on the security mechanisms. And something else that you had mentioned about whether to pay or not, and you touched on very sensitive data, very crucial. So it will also be a learning point to these attackers with the aspect that we have found where to hit where it hurts, if you get my
Yeah.
point. If they see for with the example you give, health organize or health hospitals and the rest need this data and it's confidential and they can't do without it, maybe for prescription diagnosis and the rest, and privacy, they will now be focusing on targeting hospital 1 to hospital X everywhere in the country. So even if we are considering not paying because of maybe the sensitivity or the importance or any other shouting factor that is very important, you're not saying it's not, we should also remember that it will also be a learning point for these attackers to hit where it hurts, if that's somehow clear.
Yeah. So thank you, Kevin. And let us quickly proceed to maybe the next one. I believe if this is not the final one, I think it is the second last one. But yeah, so for the OWASP 10 top 10 list, so this is the list of the attacks that happen, and it is updated, I think, annually. It is a regular updated list. And for the SQL injection, which we have mentioned, I think, in episode 3 or 4, it has spent a good amount of time in this list. And onto the next attack, we're going to focus on it. So the move it exploit. So it was a 0 day attack, meaning it was the first time happening, and there were no signatures. That means that there were no signatures that could resemble the attack, which means the engineers could go and then start looking for solutions anew. So the attack was disclosed by the software vendor company, the Progress Software, and thereafter 5 vulnerabilities were realized with time. So as we said, the 0 day attack, it's an attack that has has seen 0 days in the earth, so no solutions that are existing. So engineers have to go and design new solutions. And so the attack was initialized by the Clop ransomware group, and they also had the introduction of a new 0 day vulnerability in the Fault Trust Go Anywhere file transfer service. So Kevin, maybe as we wind up, and I think we'd have to discuss this as the last one, so that we kind of leave time for the update and the changes that are incoming.
Okay, so my insights will not be more of the movie attack, but the attackers behind the movie attack. Okay, so
Yeah,
for each and every attacker, there's something we call um, it's more of you call them TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures. Okay,
yeah,
so in TTPs, we say, or in short, what TTPs are, it's what are the characteristics of these attackers. So, for example, when it comes to their methodology of attack, which tools they use, which category of companies they go for, and the rest. So, for example, for the move it, they create their own 0 days. That's the first thing because that's what they have been in their history. And then, secondly, they target a specific kind of specific kinds of companies, which are those involved in file transfer. Okay, so that's now what you can learn about them. And then, thirdly, they have ransomware. So even as you are trying to mitigate attacks, we can look at various attack bodies. What are their TTPs, like their strategies? And then from there, we use those strategies as a learning point or as a benchmarking point and ask ourselves if we were to be attacked by the move it exploit, would we have fallen prey? Okay. And what is it that we can do so that we can be able to prevent ourselves against such attacks. So that's what I would give as insights, not really touching on the attack, but
yeah.
using those TTPs as a lesson or a learning point for preventing further attacks.
Okay, so thank you, Kevin. Always thankful for your valuable insights. And at this point, I think let us go to. We'll have more. We'll have more. We'll touch more. I believe we have not exhausted the attacks that happened last year, and we did not mention them in our episodes for the season 1 of Shieldcast. I believe
Yeah.
we'll have an opportunity in the Shieldcast spotlight of this season to maybe touch through the attacks that happened last year, along with the attacks that are already hitting the surface in 2024. So, for that and more, I think you should maybe stay tuned. But at this point, let us maybe move away from the content and maybe brief you of the changes that are incoming to Shieldcast. So we have good content incoming, and maybe for anyone who would like to speak on the show and to be on the show. So first thing first, spoiler alert: it will be video, and you can always hit our DMs, and someone from our team will be with you shortly. But also, if you want to do your contribution, but you want maybe audio, you can always describe that in your DM to our page on our Twitter page, that is shield_cast in Twitter. And yeah, as I said, someone from our team will be with you shortly, and we can always organize. So as I said, we have good content incoming, and we are going to go video with a new YouTube channel in place, and we I'm going to request you to maybe start subscribing to the new channel, because I believe you are subscribing to the old channel that was the Coding and Kahawa channel. But we have a new YouTube channel that is shield_cast, similar to the Twitter account that is shield_cast. And you're going to find that content with this episode as the first episode, and also the others are going to be updated with time. But for the video episodes that are starting in 2024 are going to be updated there immediately after publishing. So we still have our Spotify account, and it's still going on well. And I'd like to appreciate all our fans who has been with us through 2023, and who are already asking for the new season of 2024. I believe this pilot episode will shed some light of our plans. And so for Twitter and Spotify, still the same account, no changes. But for the rest, that is YouTube, and for the mode of this episode, I believe I said we are going to video, and we have a new YouTube channel. So yeah, subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter. Hit our DMs if you want to make a contribution to the show. And if you have anything related to cybersecurity, always tag us. We are going to respond immediately. That is shield_cast. So for this pilot episode, I'll leave the final words to Kevin, maybe to tell us whether he'll be with us. I mean, maybe he has other plans. But anyway, I have been your host, and I will be a host for the rest of the season. Just check me out.
Yeah, I think we are moving bigger and better. More is yet to come. A lot of things. Nobody knows. Even maybe from the plans that you have, greater things may even happen. Because once you take up something, it's better off to stick with it and finish it up to the very end. And we're looking forward to even having more vibrant conversations and the rest. It will be a good year, I'm sure about that. And let's all just keep staying tuned, sharing our podcasts. We'll be doing even more short videos, we call them, reels, more TikTok, and the rest, graphics, the rest. Just what an active podcast does online. And yeah, we hope to meet you soon. Yeah, and it shall be a good one.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Hit our DMs. That is it for the pilot episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.